So once someone starts enjoying espresso drinks at like a cafe or something, very often it's just a matter of time until they start to ask the question, could I enjoy drinks like this at home? The issue is there are a lot of barriers to having that experience in your house on a daily basis. Number one, the equipment can be very expensive. Number two, it can be very difficult to actually learn how to use it. There can be a lot of steps and different parts of the process that you have to memorize. And then there's the optimization stuff. Once you actually get it all working, how do you make the cups of coffee actually really good? On the whole, it can either be very costly, very complicated, very often actually both. And Nespresso and Keurig, they've both kind of carved out a bit of a niche here in the home space, but it's just not quite what you're going to experience if you're used to getting espresso in a cafe. Now this is the Rok Presso Smart Shot, and there's a lot of really kind of pretty interesting things actually going on with this coffee maker, but its whole thing is no more flexing barista skills, no complication, no special equipment. Put your coffee in, press down on the arms, and you're going to end up with a great cup. But they actually even go one step further than that. If you look at what they kind of say themselves online about the Smart Shot, they say, skip the Nespresso, skip the Keurig. This is what you want. So lots of thoughts here, and we are going to give this actually a pretty fun test here in a minute. But first, I wanted to show you this. This is the original Rok. I have had this thing forever. It was my very first manual espresso maker. It was a gift from my dad. When I first got this thing, I was really just getting into coffee and I had no idea how to use it. I just thought it was cool and I wanted espresso at home. I was using a blade grinder at the time, and the results were pretty mixed. And how good it is, it depends on a lot of things actually. How consistent your grind is, how much force you're putting in, how much coffee you're putting in. I wasn't measuring any of that stuff when I started using it. So very often the coffee would maybe not be the greatest. Sometimes it would be great. I was definitely hitting up against the barriers of the learning curve when I first started. Now, after a couple of years, I figured it out and it was all hunky-dory, and that was the beginning of my coffee journey. But there were some painful moments there for sure. This espresso maker, which was sent to me by Rok, kind of aims to do away with a lot of that complication that comes along with trying to make real espresso at home. So normally when I get a coffee maker like this, I'll pull out my really expensive grinder, I'll start taking notes, I'll benchmark some things, and I'll really go kind of stringent on the performance. And I kind of realized that's not really in the spirit of what this thing is. So I put that away and I got out, one of the kind of entry level hand grinders, not really recommended for espresso. And I made a coffee or two with it. And I still thought it feels like even this is a bit of a bridge too far. We need to pull this back and really see how easy and simple this is when you do not have all of the nice little equipment to go along with it. So then I thought, there's somebody in this house who really cannot be bothered with coffee equipment. My wife, Sarah. She's never used this. Maybe we should have her test this thing out on camera for the first time. So let's do it. Hey, Sarah. All right, come on over, pull up a chair. All right. All right, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
Okay, so for the benefit of our esteemed viewers, would you tell me how you feel about coffee equipment in general?
Well, I like good coffee.
Yeah.
I just need it to be simple.
Okay. Can you qualify that for me?
A button.
Okay. All right. That's an honest answer.
Or 3 steps, and I'm done.
Okay. Or I can make it for you.
Or you can make it for me. Thanks.
All right. So what we've done here is we've got some coffee from the grocery store. This is roasted by Pilot Coffee Roasters. Actually, when I started on the original Rok, I brewed this exact roast a lot, actually. And thankfully now it's available at Canadian grocery stores near us. So that's fantastic. So we're going to give you this, and I'm going to get you to use this machine.
Do I have to grind this?
Yep.
Grinding the coffee is an extra step.
Okay. Well... I don't disagree with you, but if you get whole bean at the grocery store, you're going to have to grind it, and that's how it comes.
But you could get pre-ground.
You could get pre-ground.
Oh, okay. We're going to put that in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so we'll put this in here. just to make scooping it out a little easier. All right, so follow your heart. Do what you feel is right. Let's see what happens. Okay?
Okay.
Yep.
That was easy.
Okay. Here, let's put this over here. Okay.
How does this work?
This is your moment.
This is my moment. Now, this is not easy. Not easy.
Okay.
I didn't like that part.
Okay.
The grinding is a pain.
I guess we could solve that with pre-ground.
Yeah, it would be solved with pre-ground that I could scoop out and put in there. That would be great.
All right. Well, I guess you'll need a glass.
Yeah.
So there you go. Do you want to grab the kettle?
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like I'm going to put the water in here first. Is that right?
I'm not even going to give you the benefit of having the instructions.
He's given me no instructions.
I mean, they say it's supposed to be easy.
I
So.
haven't even seen this used. Okay. Fill it up to the top. Seems right.
Yeah.
Okay, that was easy.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Now I'll just tell you, you're going to push it all the way down all at once.
Oh, wow. That's really easy to push down.
Okay. I think that's
Wow.
Okay. What do you think?
Well, that was easy. Grinding the beans was the most annoying part.
Okay. You could get around that, I guess.
Yes, you totally could. That's kind of good.
Okay. Okay. So now I think we need a comparison though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do.
Okay. So we're just going to do this. Do you want to make this?
Sure.
She's never used this one either. Okay. Yeah. And I'm assuming you need to press something.
Button on the top.
All right.
That was also easy.
Okay.
This and this was the same amount of easy.
Okay.
The pod and the coffee grinding, not the same amount of easy.
What if you had pre-ground coffee?
Yeah, if it was pre-ground coffee that I could just scoop into the
Okay.
thing, it would be easy. That looks pretty good.
Yep.
It's a lot of crema.
Yeah. All right. Which one smells better?
This one.
Okay.
But look
that's
at how
good.
much crema there is.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
I don't want to say that's all show, but let's see how they taste.
And I have to be the judge of this right now.
Well,
So this one's Nespresso. This one is Rok.
yes, this is the one. Yes.
Which should I taste first?
It's up to you.
Are you going to taste them?
After you, though.
I'm going to taste it. It's pretty good.
Okay.
I would put that whole espresso in.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I like it. And this is the Nespresso. It's pretty good.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. How do they compare?
This one is way darker.
Okay.
Like, way darker.
Okay. Part of
I
that
don't
is the
usually-
roast,
Yeah,
I think.
I don't usually like darker.
This would be like a medium espresso blend from Pilot.
Yeah,
That
and
we
it's
just made?
also very bitter.
The Nespresso is bitter?
Yeah,
Okay.
this one is, I'll taste it again.
Okay.
I like this one better.
Okay. There we
It's
go.
more well-rounded and easy to drink. This one, there's like some sharp edges to it,
Yeah, I wish I could say I was surprised by that, but
it's also super dark, which is not my thing.
yeah. I mean, you can get lighter pods, but I find they all kind of have a little bit of an edge.
But I would put more of this in here.
Oh, yeah, that was the right one. All right, let's see how that is.
Yeah, it's a good coffee.
Okay.
Taste it.
All right, I will. You know,
It's pretty
It's-
good.
it's this is no commentary on your abilities. It's pretty shocking that
No, that is commentary on my abilities because
no. It's more about the grinder. Like I would never recommend somebody do that.
With the
Like
light
get a burr grinder. I got lots of reviews on here, but yeah, that's good.
Can I take that and drink it?
Well, I guess then I have to make another one, unless I'm gonna drink this one.
Are you gonna drink that one?
Ooh.
See?
No.
Okay. You're welcome.
Enjoy the coffee that you made, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
You did
that.
make it.
It was very easy. The most annoying part was grinding the beans, so
Yeah, all right. Thank you for that.
you get them pre-ground and you're good to go.
All right. Thank you, dear. So I just want to show you the grounds that she just used. Look at that. All right, so I'm going to put away the Nespresso machine, and I'm gonna do like a half step up from what we just did. So I'm still just gonna eyeball everything, but I am gonna put it in a little bit of a nicer hand grinder. I've got this set to like just finer than a normal filter grind. I'm gonna put this in here. Not really gonna worry about a tamp or anything like that. I'm just gonna level it off, pop it in here, and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm just gonna fill it up, gonna lift up the arms, and I'm gonna press them down. And we're just gonna let that pull. So I'm gonna say that's probably even a little bit finer than what they would suggest. They tell you if you have any issue getting the puck out to just use the end of the spoon. And I'm gonna give myself an Americano here. Let's see how this one tastes. That is good. All right, so as fun as that was, I know the question that a lot of you who watch my channel regularly are gonna be asking is that espresso shot as good as a shot of espresso on a setup that costs way more? There's no way, right? And the answer to that is no, of course not. And you wouldn't expect it to be either. Now, is it better than a shot out of an espresso machine? I would say absolutely yes. Now, why is that? There's a couple things. And the first thing is actually the coffee that we put in here. If you go and you buy pre-ground coffee from the grocery store and it says dark, extra bold, and it comes out tasting bitter, that's probably just because that's how that coffee is. Now, if you can find a local specialty roaster, maybe they're even available in the grocery store, but you know, it's got the roast date on it. It might even tell you where that coffee is from, and it costs a little bit more, then you're a lot more likely to have a great experience. There are a couple pretty cool things specific though to this machine that help it do what it does in kind of the criminally easy way that it does it. Number one are these springs on the side here. Now, spring lever espresso machines typically are very expensive, and they work very well because they provide a very consistent pressure on the puck of coffee every single time. Basically, you cock the spring, and as the spring is pressing down on the coffee, how much pressure that actually is never going to change. Also, spring levers offer a declining pressure as they're kind of pressing down. It's kind of less pressure towards the end of the shot, which on the whole can make pulling espresso a little bit more forgiving. Also, it's controlling for the amount of water that you put in. It's kind of got a set level that you're supposed to fill it up to. So that's another variable kind of out of the picture that can mess people up when they're learning to make espresso manually at home. And it also uses something called a pressurized basket in the portafilter right here. Now, when you pop this thing out of here, you can see there are a bunch of little holes on the inside where the coffee goes, but on the outside, there's only one tiny little hole. And when the pressure comes down on here, the water can only escape through this tiny little hole right there. So it's not going to be able to come out very quickly. Now, as it comes out of there, it's going to get all turbulent, and that is going to be part of what produces the crema on top of the shot. But it's also going to make the pull a lot more forgiving on grind size. This is a standard portafilter basket design. This is actually the Rok basket, the Pro basket they call it. And you can see those holes, got those same holes on the bottom, but they actually come out this way. Now, if you throw coarse ground coffee in this thing, it just is going to gush out everywhere. This basket allows you to use coarser ground coffee, and it is going to regulate the output so that you get a long enough extraction to still taste good, even with a coarser grind. Now, what I really like about the Smart Shot in comparison to a lot of the other kind of entry-level espresso makers that are out there is that by removing all of those variables that you can kind of mess with to optimize your shot of coffee, they're actually making it a lot easier to use and a lot easier to get a good cup of coffee with way less effort. And the cups, you know, it's very good. Like, if somebody served this to me, if I'm visiting somewhere or whatever, I'd be like, this is a really good cup of coffee. Like, how did you make it? So the quality is there. Is it as nice as a $10,000 setup? No, but pretty impressive. Couple things that will help you optimize this if you're using one. Number one, if you are using this, again, I would really recommend considering upgrading to a burr grinder. You're going to get a way better result. But if this is what you got and you need to make it work, you can shake while you're grinding, and that will make for a more even grind out of one of these things. As far as dosing coffee into here, they recommend 2 scoops. I found that 1 scoop really kind of tended to fill up the basket enough. I couldn't really fit 2 of the scoops that it comes with anyway in there, so I would recommend doing 1 scoop. One thing that can really help if you're just getting started with this stuff is getting a scale and kind of measuring out your beans. Now, if you're going to do that, I got reviews on here of scales that cost, you know, like $100. You don't got to do anything like that. Just get a like $15 scale from Amazon. It won't be the best quality, but it'll get you going. I did find that if I went too fine on the grind, I would actually bottom out the springs before it had a chance to kind of push the plunger all the way down. So I would actually recommend staying in like a little bit of a coarser range. Now, for all the coffee enthusiasts out there, I know you're curious about this. I did some tests with a refractometer, which if you don't know what that is, it measures coffee extraction. And, you know, even just by eyeballing things with a blade grinder and pulling a shot, not weighing anything, I was able to get this within a couple points of a true espresso extraction. So definitely very impressive for what it is. And it also pulls a little bit longer of a shot, which again helps those coarser grinds extract more fully. Now the SmartShot goes for about 170 US or about 220 Canadian. The specific Nespresso model that we used just there isn't technically made anymore, but it was a little bit more expensive. You can get cheaper Nespresso machines than that though. Where you end up saving is pods can be kind of expensive, certainly more expensive than buying pre-ground or whole bean coffee. A pod is going to be about $1.30 US on Amazon right now every time you do it. Even if you get like a really nice blend from Coffee Roaster, it's probably going to be about 90 cents a cup, just under $1. So you're going to save every cup, not to mention the waste that comes along with pods. I know you can technically recycle them and all that, but I never count on that. Now, as far as convenience, I think what Sarah would say is if I had given her pre-ground coffee, it would be almost as easy of an experience. If you're grinding your coffee, which is going to result in a better cup, that is going to be one step that takes a little bit longer. Also, if you want to steam milk on these, very similar to Nespresso, you'll need kind of like a standalone frother. There are lots of different models, but that is a consideration with something like this for sure. Now, as far as cons, from my perspective and considerations, kind of like negatives that you might want to think about, you know, I didn't make Sarah clean it out. So that is part of it too. You know, that's going to add a little extra step. Also, you know, and this is going to be true if you're looking at an espresso machine or anything like that in this range. And to be honest, very many of the other manual espresso makers kind of on the lower end contain plastic. Rok calls this a glass composite material, but it's a polymer that contains plastic. So, you know, the body is plastic. It's sturdy and all that, but if you're plastic conscious, that is something to think about. The portafilter is metal, you know, so that's good, but lots of plastic components throughout. So take that for what it is. They do also include this little spout if you want to, you know, slip that on there and split your shot into 2 singles. This is a plastic piece also. I find with the design of these ridges that dust can kind of get in here and make that area a little bit trickier to clean out. If you run underwater, it's not the hugest deal, but it would be nice to have something that you could just wipe down. Also, one thing that tends to happen as you start getting into espresso is very often you want to start tweaking and going further with it and kind of adopt it as a little bit of a hobby. It's not really designed to be an expandable platform that you can kind of add on and do different things with. You know, Rok makes that pro basket, but when it comes to actually using it in this machine and going for those finer grinds, they actually recommend against it. So from their perspective, I think they're kind of envisioning people move to the standard Rok unit or, you know, whatever you want to do at that point. Now, they do recommend, you know, doing all kinds of crazy things if you go on their social, like using vodka and shots and instead of water and all kinds of crazy stuff, coconut water, you know. I don't really go in for that kind of thing, but if you do, you can try that, I guess. Doing back-to-back shots is something, you know, like on an espresso machine, you just kind of flip it up, stick another pod in and go. On this, it is just going to take a little bit longer. So if you serve guests often, that is something to think about, unless this is a cool thing that they would like to watch. On the whole, I went through several phases with this thing. I was very excited when I found out that Rok was offering a spring lever, because I just thought, wow, that's really cool and innovative. I haven't seen anybody do that. Then I got really skeptical when I heard, hey, you're not really designed to, use espresso grinds like the original Rok or tamp or do any of that kind of thing. Just throw filter grinds in there and have at it. And I was like, is that really gonna work? And then I got it and I started using it, and it makes pretty great coffee. And I was surprised by that. So if you watch my channel regularly, you love geeking out on this kind of stuff, and you haven't yet subscribed, number one, I would love for you to do that. But number two, I would love to hear your thoughts on SmartShot. Maybe you think that this is a great thing, help more people move away from pod machines. Maybe you think it would be a great fit for you. Maybe you think, hey, this is maybe not the best fit for me, but I could see myself recommending this to friends who maybe want to have more real espresso at home without kind of like any fuss or needing to buy like extra bits or that kind of thing. Either way, I would love for you to drop your comments down below. I hope your next cup of coffee is fantastic, and we'll see you next time. Like, that shouldn't be that good. Makes me wonder what I'm doing here sometimes.